The first time I summoned a very rare epic tier Holy Angel pre-order. Right there at the summoning ceremony. Offering it for sale at 10 million. Everyone laughed at me, calling me a total sucker. Just because, the moment I summoned the Holy Angel, he actually walked toward the rich kid and kneels on one knee to swear allegiance. Faced with this sudden betrayal, I decisively offered 10 million so that the rich kid would buy it and demand that in their Chamber of Commerce to select a pre-sale as compensation. After all, disloyal pre-sales are at a premium. Will ultimately ruin the pre-sale specialist. Faced with this golden opportunity, Tianqi Group agreed to my asking price and terms without hesitation. Right now, at the Apocalypse Chambers pre-sale store, staff, take me to the third floor where they sell advance tickets. The containment unit holds all kinds of pre-sales. All pre-sales in the third floor lobby of Mr. Liu's building. You are free to choose any. The staff member introduced it to me with a smile. My gaze swept over and immediately settled on the figure covered entirely in crimson. Lin Jia's monster. A panel quietly appears. Lin Jia Beast, Elite Tier 1. Level, Anti-Auspicious, 1 star. My gaze did not linger. I kept moving toward the next one. It was a sleek, snow-white demon wolf lazing about inside the cage. Blizzard Demon Wolf, Elite Tier 6. Level, Advanced, 1 star 0 hours 0 minutes and 49 seconds to 0 hours 0 minutes and 51 seconds. I walk at a steady pace. I walked around the entire hall. Before I knew it, my brows were tightly furrowed. The vast majority of pre-sale qualifications here are still at the general and elite levels. There are very few pre-orders for the hero tier, and the position with the highest qualifications is nothing more than a 2-term hero class candle beast. As for the scenario I had in mind, the gap is just too big. Is that all? I stopped and looked back at the staff. The staff member still had a warm smile on his face. Yes, Mr. Liu. Except these, all that's left are the jade hands left behind in the basement. Those are all the rejects left over after others have picked through them. Most of them have incurable defects. They'll be cold tomorrow. I nodded. Since I'm here, I won't feel at ease until I've seen every corner. Take me to see it. A flicker of repression passes through the staff member's eyes. Okay, please follow me. We're in the basement. The pre-sales held here, just as the staff said. They are either mentally ill or severely disabled. Their eyes are lifeless. I didn't pay any attention to that. I still patiently look back. Just as I was about to reach the end of the basement, my footsteps came to an abrupt halt. My gaze is fixed on the corner. On an unremarkable containment device. Inside the device is a bird with dull feathers. A jade bird with the features of a Vimy eagle, curled up in the corner. Sheep-hunting sword eagle. Hero level during qualification period, Fanji 1 star. Debuff, clan disability. Silver-ringed snake venom poisoning. Recommended for training. Wind and Rain Lake Valley. Can cure the broken clan. 7 flowers can cure snake venom. A faint line at the corner of my eyebrow. The potential of this sheep-hunting sword eagle is far better than I had anticipated, even though I lost a claw and got poisoned. But on the panel, clearly states the cure. Shuang Yu, tiger bone and 7-flavor flower are both relatively common ingredients and are easy to obtain, even if buying the materials costs a little money. This deal is a surefire win, no matter how you look at it. By then, I will have a flawless hero level 7 strategy. At this stage, this is pretty much the best option you can find. I have a plan in mind. Just as I was about to speak, but out of the corner of his eye, he is drawn to the darkness deeper within. It was an energy cage barely taller than a person. It stood out like a sore thumb among the other massive containment units. I walked into a few. My pupils contracted slightly. A figure in the cage, weakly leaning against the cold metal wall. Humans are wrong. It's a humanoid jade beast. In the basement of the Apocalypse Chamber of Commerce, there was actually a humanoid jade beast hidden there. Why is he locked up here? What's even stranger is, when I turned my gaze toward that figure, highly abnormal, a sense of rejection welled up from the depths of my soul. This feeling is far from ordinary. As I step inside once more, the jade beast in the cage, as if sensing the presence of a living being, He slowly raised his head and glanced at me, but quickly lowered his head again as if he'd been electrocuted. Just as he looked up, I finally got a clear look at his face. A sinister grimace formed on his face. His original features are completely unrecognizable. And the staff member who came up saw me stop in front of the cage and wore an expression that suggested he was used to this. This is the within mode. Rescued from the spatial rift. No one wanted him back then, looking like that. He's not just ugly. He's also cursed. Level forever, stuck at Fanji 1-star. Tomorrow I'll be hauled off to the scrapyard with the other rejects. The staff looks at the endometrium in the cage, with undisguised disgust on their faces. But I didn't take it to heart. Right now, my heart is pounding like my ribs. A line that only I can see. Translucent panel, looming right before my eyes. Lilith's thorn lining. Status, unbound. Qualifications, normal to shy style 9th tier. Curse sealed, intermediate, mortal tier. The curse can be broken during a massage. And improve the pre-sale qualifications. I saw those 4 characters, she clan 9th tier. Again. My breath caught. So it was a curse. Even the gods are extremely beautiful? This succubus named Lilith. Her natural talent is actually a level 9 epic tier existence. Just one step away from legend. This is my most promising pre-sale. That angel who betrayed me. He doesn't even deserve to be my mentor. And this so-called luxury sale panel comes with a full 3 skills right from the start. More importantly, pre-sale panel. A method to break the curse is provided. Even the Empress. The path to further improving qualifications has been laid out. This means that as long as I buy this endometrium and find those materials, you can get almost legendary horror. With that in mind, my breathing became rapid. He is the partner I've been searching for. I turned to the staff member beside me and said, I'll take this face mask. Can I just take him with me? Lilith in the cage hears my words. Her frail body suddenly trembled. Are you talking about me? Lilith looked up abruptly and gazed at that handsome, serene face. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Since the day he was born, the world seems to harbor an omnipresent theory. He's numb? He doesn't even dare to hope that others will accept his existence. But right now, this strange boy actually pointed at him, is willing to sign a pre-sale contract with him. The staff member's professional smile froze slightly. He wonders if he heard wrong. Mr. Liu, are you sure you want to choose him? My answer was without hesitation. Very sure. Arrange for us to sign the contract right now. Asian people look even cuter through the eyes of staff. But good professional conduct prevented him from asking any further questions. Please follow me. He then turned and led the way. Lilith followed stiffly behind. From the moment she was led out of the cage, his world seemed to have plunged into chaos until he entered the quiet room, and the staff member untied her. He suddenly snapped back to reality and stared blankly at the boy standing before him. I have been cursed since the day I was born. I cannot even improve my own cultivation. Lilith plucked up the courage to speak. Her voice was filled with struggle and fear. You have now chosen me, but I cannot ease your worries, nor can I bring you glory. This sudden voice made me frown slightly. I hadn't expected this at all. This endometrium, cursed on the outside, sounds so moving. I know a way to lift the curse from you. Will you make a contract with me? To break the curse, Lilith's heart, as if gripped tightly by an invisible hand. My life is in your hands from the moment you make your choice. Has been yours. Lilith's voice was soft, yet carried a sense of resolve. I said no more. A faint glow materialized and gently touched Lilith's forehead. A light flickers. An ancient contract law is emerging at their feet. The contract of equality is established. I turned around immediately and called over the staff member waiting outside the door. I need to buy some materials. 1 dark night feather. 5 Hell's Edge. 2 during the massage. The expressions on the faces of the 2 staff members. When you heard earlier that I was going to choose a face mask, you were still shocked. These 3 are all extremely rare and expensive materials, especially during the massage, is an exceptionally rare, high-quality material. Mr. Liu, the total value of these materials? Before he could finish his sentence, I had already handed him my terminal card. 30 million should be enough. The staff member looked at the terminal card. The balance displayed on the terminal card. That's shocking enough. Mr. Liu, please wait a moment. I'll go prepare it for you right away. His attitude became more respectful than ever. Soon, 3 materials that emit dark energy were carefully brought into the room. Only Lilith and I remained inside. Do as I say. First, absorb this feather. My voice is steady and powerful, which gave Lilith great peace of mind. Lilith looked at me and nodded firmly. She reached out a trembling hand to touch toward that wing of the dark night. The moment the feather touched his fingertips, it turned into a black streak of light and merged into his body. Next came Hell's Fang. And finally, those 2 pieces that, when Lilith's palm grabs the last piece of membrane, the sound of the battle, an energy fluctuation of extreme intensity, radiated out from Lilith. I was knocked back repeatedly by the force, until my back pressed against the cold wall. Did I steady myself? My gaze was fixed on the center of the arena. I could see mysterious purple-black threads gushing wildly from Lilith's body. These threads, layer upon layer, quickly intertwine and entangle, finally forming a massive purple-black cocoon, completely enveloping Lilith. All my nearsightedness is being suppressed by this cold, dark energy. Pervaded. I stared at the black cocoon in front of me. It would be a lie to say I wasn't nervous. Following the instructions on the panel, besides breaking the curse on Lilith, it can also restore Lilith's potential to its peak, and even break through again. It was practically a gamble where I bet everything. If it works, I will possess a jade hand with limitless potential. Time passes. Suddenly, the purple energy surrounding us swirled violently and surged back into the black alkali, accompanied by a sharp, intense streaks of blinding golden light burst forth from the cracks in the black alkali, instantly piercing the dimness of the room. I couldn't help but remark on its golden legend potential, as more and more cracks appeared on the black alkali, a dazzling golden light gushing forth from the cracks, illuminating the entire vicinity as if it were broad daylight. Suddenly, the black alkali completely shatters. Countless purple-black shards scattered in all directions. But in mid-air, it transforms into the purest energy particles. The golden light didn't last long. It quickly faded away, replaced by even deeper damage. A surge of even more intense purple-black energy. An invisible energy wave instantly pierced through the roof and finally vanished into the void. Meanwhile, top floor of City Hall, Mayor Lingwo is sitting behind a large desk, examining the footage from this year's citywide high school summoning ceremony. The summary of students, results from the initial presale, news in a moment. Lingwo suddenly stands up and strides quickly to the massive floor-to-ceiling window. Rui Li's gaze turned toward the east side of the city. Just a moment ago, he caught a fleeting whiff of terror. The immense energy contained within, like smoke or the sea, kept his mind in a state of turmoil for a long time. A crane on the Spirit Fire Dike let out a cry. The office door is immediately pushed open. A sharp-looking man in uniform walked in briskly. Mayor, please give your instructions. Notify the city guard immediately. Linghuo's voice was incredibly serious. Keep a close watch on the East City area. Check for any abnormalities, especially for any signs of spatial rifts opening. The subordinate immediately acknowledged the order, turned and walked away quickly. Only 05 remains in the office. His face was so gloomy you could have squeezed water out of it. To trigger an energy reaction of this magnitude, there are only 3 possibilities. First, there's a new, unknown rifts to another dimension have appeared nearby. Second, a terrifying monarch-level entity has descended. Third, pre-sales backed by rumors and credentials have emerged. A sovereign-level powerhouse. That is, across the entire Yanhuang Kingdom, a figure held in high esteem, and their every move is closely watched. Ever since he was assigned to Lingyuan by higher-ups 10 years ago, I haven't seen any legends or pre-sales. In small and medium-sized cities like Lingyuan, even an epic-level pre-sale is a rare opportunity. As for the legendary set bonus, I just can't figure it out. I had no choice but to open that unfinished report. At this moment, among the candidates, as the last trace of energy fluctuation completely dissipated, the air fell into an eerie stillness. My gaze was fixed firmly ahead. The sound of my heartbeat echoes in the silence, amplified infinitely. Suddenly, a figure stood silently before me. Despite my composure, having lived 2 lifetimes, is shattered in this very moment. The figure before me, 2 words instantly came to mind. Stunning. The vicious thorns that once covered Lilith's entire body have now vanished without a trace, replaced by skin as white as jade. Smooth and delicate skin. She is wearing a form-fitting, dark purple long dress that perfectly accentuated her stunning curves, leading to a head of long jet-black silky hair, falling like a blanket over the head. Slender legs on either side symbolize his identity as a demon. On that face, so beautiful it seemed otherworldly, a pair of cat's eye-like eyes is quietly staring at me. In the broadcast booth, Mitai Tiancheng stands behind him, a pair of huge, magnificent purple-black butterfly wings, slowly into the cave. Every time, the cave stirs up a fine dust. Lin Fen, shimmering with a faint glow, revealing an atmosphere of the eerie and the supernatural. This stands in stark contrast to the previous image, which was deliberately ugly, is like night and day. What really stirs my heart is that after completing this transformation, Lilith's panel has undergone a complete transformation. Lilith, Witch of the Night, the Legend of the First Calamity. Level 1 Anti-G Cultivation. Recommended to use the Eternal Night Orb, Water of the Hellspring. Dream Eye crystals can increase this pre-sale qualification. I looked at the dazzling legendary calamity on the panel. I slowly exhaled the stale air from my chest. Nearly 30 million ships. Betting on a legend and a talent's pre-sale. This deal is a total steal. While I was still staring blankly at the panel, Li Lisi moved. He came up behind me without a sound. A faint, elusive fragrance drifted into my nostrils. Those captivating eyes stared deeply at me, as if to imprint my figure deep into my soul. The next moment he extended his jade-like white fingers and gently touched his brow. And then, a wisp of purplish-red energy, radiating an eerie glow, is held between his 2 fingers. As I looked on, in confusion, Lilith applied the durable, purplish red gently on my forehead. Immediately, I felt a mysterious sensation floated up in my mind. It's a sense of absolute, irresistible control. As if a single thought were enough, could decide Lilith's fate. My heart skipped a beat, and immediately looked at the panel. He saw in the status bar, the equal contract previously signed with Lilith has quietly turned into a contract of servitude. My heart and mind were stirred. I have absolutely no idea why he would do that. Lilith didn't respond right away. She took another step forward. She practically fell into my arms. A warm, tingling sensation, yet tinged with a tremor, resonated in my ears. Master, when you were in that cold basement, the moment you chose me, nothing else matters. It's you who saved me from endless darkness and despair. Now my life, everything I have, is a gift from you. Lilith gently rested her cheek against my shoulder. Her voice carried a sense of contentment. So please accept all of this. I froze completely. My heart felt like it was being pounded by a sledgehammer. A wave of indescribable warmth welled up from the very depths of my heart. I remembered that dog, the angel of light who betrayed me. I recalled his innate arrogance and the cold indifference he displayed when he betrayed me. It turns out that not all hands in this world are as repulsive as his. So this is how true loyalty and devotion show weakness. So pure. Lilith's actions made me feel a truth I'd never felt before. Sincerity and trust. This absolute trust and profound affection moved me deeply. I slowly raised my hand and gently placed it on Lily's back. Lilith sensed my memories. The Threadmaster held me even tighter. From now on, I will clear the path for you, and clear away all obstacles. I looked down at the exquisite face in my arms. A genuine smile curled at the corners of my mouth. Welcome, Lilith, my first partner. When I came downstairs with Lilith, the whole hall fell silent. All eyes, whether staff or guests, are irresistibly drawn to Lilith. Their eyes were filled with awe and wonder. Oh my God, who is that? Is that the teen's presale? It's truly beautiful. The staff member who greeted me earlier is standing not far away, and will remain right where he is. He looked at the one following behind me, the stunningly beautiful witch of the night. My mind went blank. This is what's in the basement. That ugly, defective succubus. No way. But the facts are right in front of us. He has no choice but to be unfortunate. It's come to this. He can only... A stiff smile, even uglier than a cave. Hurry up and win. Mr. Liu, your paperwork is all set. You may leave at any time. I nodded. I ignored the surprised stares around me. He led Lilith straight out of the Merchants Guild, until my figure had completely disappeared outside the door. Did he snap out of it, and immediately rushed to his workbench, and dialed the chairman's number as fast as he could. Something has happened to the chairman. Meanwhile, at the Song family estate, Song Zhenguo listens to the staff's report. His eyebrows involuntarily furrowed slightly. They say that cursed demoness has regained her appearance. It's absolutely true. I saw it with my own eyes. He's more of an angel than the one you brought back. Is even more beautiful. A flicker of repression passed through Song Zhenguo's eyes. Then his furrowed brow relaxed. So what if you've regained your appearance? My talent is merely average. A defective product that can't be upgraded. After all, it's just all show and no substance. Useless trash, aren't you? Hang up. He looked at the material being absorbed and increasing their power. Told the story as a joke. Song Xiang listened. A sarcastic smile appeared on his face. You mean that poor kid? And turned down all those elite members, and didn't choose the hero-level ones. I picked a defective one. Just a country bumpkin who's never seen the world. Good thing Lin Shu came with me. Epic and pre-sale to that loser. That's a real shame. He is now flanked by Song Xiang, the angel of light, named Lin Shu. After hearing this conversation, also spoke up in that cool, detached tone. Those easily captivated by appearances will never become strong. He tilted his chin slightly. In his deep blue eyes, also revealed a deep contempt for this Tran Yuzhu. So that human named Lu Feng is actually someone who can be manipulated by a mere mo. Such a shallow person. Thank goodness I didn't choose to sign a contract with him. Otherwise, serving a master like that will only tarnish his reputation as an angel. And Song Jiangguo saw the reactions of his son and the angel. He nodded in satisfaction. This is the kind of vision and composure my son should have. Suddenly, his tone turned serious again. The college entrance exam, in a week. This is your best chance to make a name for yourself. These past few days, take Lin Shu to the beginner's dungeon and practice hard. Make sure to level him up before the college entrance exams. You have an epic pre-order. You're bound to be #1 on the newbie dungeon leaderboard. Song Xiang. Wen Yan flashes a confident yet cruel smile. Don't worry, I'll make sure everyone knows who is the top young talent in the Lin Yuan clan. One person, one life. When leaving the Chamber of Commerce, the sky was already turning to dusk. I'm walking home with Lilith. My home is in an old residential neighborhood. The house isn't big, but it's tidy. It just feels a bit cold. 3 years ago, my father died unexpectedly during a mission to explore a spatial rift, leaving only my sister Lu Wanyang and me to rely on each other. Now my sister is attending college in the distant imperial capital, so now I'm the only one left in this house. I pushed open the door. A familiar sense of desolation washed over me. Have a seat. This is your home from now on. Lilith didn't move. She just stood quietly in the entryway. His gaze swept over the simple furnishings inside. Finally, the camera lingers on my back. The word home is so foreign to him. From being born into darkness to being imprisoned in a cage, he never had what you might call a home, until this young man appeared. After a simple dinner, my all-in-one terminal suddenly went off. The words sister flashed on the screen. I answered the call. A stunning virtual projection appears in the center of the living room. How's it going, bro? The summoning ritual is over, right? What quality is your initial presale? Let me see it, sis. Lu Wanyi, on the other end of the video, seemed even more excited than I was. A barrage of questions came flying at me. I smiled. I turned sideways and aimed the camera. Lilith, who is sitting upright on the sofa. The moment Lu Wanyi sees Lilith, her eyes went wide. It's actually a human-shaped pre-order. Man, you're so lucky. That was beautiful. Lilith, here's the compliment. Just a polite, slight hand-wringing. That counts as a greeting. Her gaze quickly returned to me. Lu Wanyi didn't care at all. She was genuinely happy for her younger brother. That's great. Ningyo pre-order. You'll have a much better chance on the college entrance exam this time. Then his tone turned serious. By the way, the beginner's dungeon opens tomorrow. Don't miss it. The newbie dungeon was created by Chen's security team and the military, jointly established as a testing ground. The abyssal monsters inside are the highest level, will not exceed a 9-star counterattack. It's us star people who'll be the main trainers for us star people. I listened silently to my sister's advice. While my thoughts raced, the ranks of this world are divided into 9 minor realms. Me, having just signed a pre-sale contract, now, is just a guess that doesn't even qualify as a 1-star counterattack. Taboo. So pursue every possible avenue for rapid growth is what I need to do most right now. By the way, the beginner's dungeon is only open for 3 days a year. If you rank high in points, it will also be very helpful for your college entrance exams. However, while trying to kill as many monsters as possible to earn points, make sure to protect yourself, okay? I looked at my sister's worried eyes in the projection and nodded earnestly. I'm well aware of that. Don't worry, sis. I've got it under control. We chatted about a few more everyday things before hanging up. Early on I took Lilith with me to the entrance to the beginner's dungeon. In front of the massive spatial portal is already teeming with people. Zhu Qianling, we've just invited high school seniors who pre-ordered the initial release to gather here. The vast majority of newcomers choose to stick together for support in hopes of gaining greater survival rates and efficiency. And when I appeared with Lilith, I instantly became the center of attention. Lilith's mysterious and elegant dark purple gown, paired with that breathtakingly beautiful face, she captured the attention of nearly every man in the room. In an instant, countless invitations came my way. Big shot. Please add me to your party. Our team has a hero and a Swiftwind healer. I'm ignoring these invites. I never intended to team up with anyone. Just as I was about to queue up with Lilith into the adversity, a full, sarcastic voice came from behind the crowd. Isn't that so-and-so? What was his name again? Song Xiang was seen surrounded by a crowd, walking straight toward me with the Angel of Light. The angel's wings are pure at this moment. Her expression is haughty, her gaze, when the light falls on me, with undisguised contempt, and Song Xiang's gaze lingered on Lilith for a moment, a look of astonishment and extreme, but was quickly overtaken by a deep sense of longing. Don't let him fool you. Song Xiang raised his voice and shouted to the people around him in an exaggerated tone. Don't be fooled by how pretty that pre-sale model next to him looks. But it's actually just me. The Apocalypse Guild is preparing to destroy the defective products, isn't it? Only has a basic qualification, and the rank can never be upgraded. Just a pretty face, with no substance. As soon as those words were spoken, the entire room erupted in an uproar. The very people who had been so enthusiastic about inviting me just a moment ago, the look in their eyes changed instantly when they looked at me. Turns out it's a wax gun tip. Everyone immediately backed away from me. Seeing the reactions of those around me, the smug smile on Song Xiang's face grows wider. He walked up to me and patted the spot next to him as if to show off. The wings of the Angel of Light. See that? This is the kind of pre-sale a true genius should have. Come to think of it, maybe I should thank you. Otherwise, how could I have secured such a powerful pre-sale? It's not like some people who picked up a defective item and treat it like a castle. He leaned in close to me and lowered his voice at a volume only the two of them can hear. A bass voice full of malice. Do you know how forward Lin Shu is? We're inseparable. He's way more affectionate than when he was with you. I looked at him with a calm expression. A verbal altercation. It's the most boring thing in the world. But I don't care, Lilith. But I do care about a bone-chilling, murderous intent that flashed briefly from Lilith. His beautiful, cat-like eyes grew deep as he stared intently at Song Xiang. I can sense Lilith's emotional fluctuations. I reached out and gently took his slightly cool hand. Lilith shuddered. That murderous intent, on the verge of spiraling out of control, vanished in an instant. He looked up at me. The coldness in his eyes melted into a warmth like that of a lake. I didn't say a word. I just shook my head at him. It's not worth getting into an argument with a fool. Now I'll rest up. Once we enter the secret realm, let's settle this based on our battle records and points. Lilith immediately understood her master's meaning. He paid no further attention to Song Ziyang. He reached out and gently wrapped his arms around my arms and pressed her soft body tightly against me, then shifted slightly, as if by accident, toward the angel behind Song Ziyang. That posture is both a sign of dependence and a silent declaration. I want to pull my hand out, but found that he was holding me very tightly. I tried several times but couldn't do it. In the end, I had no choice but to let him be. This scene caught Song Ziyang's eye. Was like adding fuel to the fire. His face instantly turned the color of a pig's liver. What gives some poor kid a good-for-nothing to be embraced by such beautiful hands? And although my She-class angel is obedient, they always kept a certain distance from him. But I couldn't be bothered to look at him anymore. Taking Lilith with me toward the entrance to the secret realm, shimmering with light. The moment the portal appears, when my feet touched solid ground again, the surroundings have completely changed. It is a forest, cold and primeval. This is the newcomer's secret realm. Lilith looks around warily. Her purplish-black butterfly wings retract slightly, enveloping both of us within them. He could feel, in this forest, lurk countless malevolent presences. Let's go. My voice is calm. I glanced at the leaderboard displayed on the all-in-one terminal. It was still blank. Teleportation in the beginner's dungeon is completely random. Party members are often split up. Right now, it's just the two of us in this area. The two of us walk steadily deeper into the forest. Lilith's senses are fully alert, catching every slightest movement around her. However, after walking for about 10 minutes, I stopped right next to a pile of unremarkable rocks. Lilith looked at me in confusion. There's no trace of a blur here. Not even the slightest energy fluctuation. I didn't explain. I just raised my finger and pointed at the pile of rocks. A black rock, slightly darker than the surrounding stones. Stone came into view. A panel that only I can see clearly appears. Rock monster. Average stats, 4 realms rank, mortal 2-star. Attack him. My eyelids feel dry, though Lilith's heart was filled with 1,000 doubts. But he didn't hesitate for a moment. A faint chirping sound filled the air. A sword, entirely black, enveloped in a crimson glow, appeared out of thin air in his hand. Skill, reaping chain, aside from the depths of hell. A crimson glow from the depths of hell wraps around the scythe. Any wound inflicted by the scythe will not heal or recover for a certain period of time. Lilith grips the handle. Her body lunges forward like a ghost. The giant lotus in his hand traces a cold arc and slashed mercilessly at the black rock. The sharp blade cuts through without any resistance, just like cutting through tofu, instantly splitting that hard rock in two. The cut is as smooth as glass. Just as Lilith thought, she had merely shattered an ordinary stone. A pale purple glow suddenly appeared on the stone, and slowly rose from the parted rocks, then dissolving into a streak of light, and swiftly merged into Lilith's body. A wave of warmth spread throughout her body. That's experience. This unassuming rock is actually a monster. Lilith's pupils contracted slightly. A wave of emotion surged through her heart. This monster, so skilled at disguise, is a deadly threat to the new Lord of Desire. They have almost no energy signature. It's extremely difficult to detect by perception alone. If you were ambushed by something like this, I'm afraid we'd be wiped out in a single encounter. But his owner, Lilith, turned her head and looked at that handsome face, serene as still water. His esteem for his master soared once more, becoming ever more mysterious and majestic. Let's go. Time is running out. I set off once more. The beginner's dungeon is only open for 6 hours a day. If you want to level up quickly in a short amount of time, don't have time to play. Next, Lilith finally saw what a miracle truly was. Under my outrageously precise guidance, Lilith's chain of crimes has barely stopped. In less than half an hour, a surge of energy several times more intense than before erupted from within Lilith. Anti-G 2-star. Meanwhile, a surge of pure energy flows back through the contract and surges through my limbs. My spiritual power surges. My physical condition and my ability to remain imperceptible have also become clear. I opened Lilith's panel. Lilith, Witch of the Night. Level 2 star. Strength 55, Agility 58, Constitution 52. Spirit 65. I looked at these terrifying stats. My heart trembles. You have to realize that the 2-star rock viewer from just now had a maximum Constitution stat of only 16. Whereas Lilith at the same level, her stats are more than triple hers. That is the terrifying nature of legend and innate talent. Time flies 0 hours, 19 minutes, and 28 seconds. To 0 hours, 19 minutes, and 29 seconds, 3 hours later. The scenery of the secret realm has undergone a dramatic change. The trees around us have grown much thicker. The energy in the air grows ever more intense and violent. We are now in the middle section of the secret realm. All along the way, monsters slain by Lilith have already exceeded 70. My points have also climbed to the top of the leaderboard. Master, there's a very strong aura up ahead. Lilith suddenly stops in her tracks. Her expression turns serious. I had already noticed it through the panel. A swamp not far ahead lurks a colossal python. Elite talent, level 9. Level 7-star elite monsters. Since we entered the secret realm, the highest level monster. A monster of this size. For new parents at this stage, it is practically an insurmountable challenge. Can it be solved? I looked at Lilith. There was not a trace of anger on Lilith's exquisite face. Instead, she stuck out her tongue and gently licked her bright red lips. It is my honor to clear the way for my master. The moment she finished speaking, his figure vanished from where he stood. The next second, he has already appeared at the edge of the swamp, dozens of meters away. A rope made of buckets in the swamp, covered entirely in dark green scales. The giant python, its body covered in dark green scales, suddenly raised its head. His bright red eyes were fixed intently on Lilith. He opens his mouth wide. A stream of dark green venom sprays out like a high-pressure water jet. The air sizzles and crackles wherever it passes. Yet Lilith's figure is like a phantom, and effortlessly evaded the giant python's attack. He'll guard the tree path first. Thorn vines, shimmering with a demonic purple glow, burst forth from the void behind him, like a net from heaven and earth, tightly coiling around the massive body of the shadow serpent. Thorns. The thorns on the thorn bush pierced deep into the python's flesh. Both the thorns of suffering, units that are entangled or pierced, will suffer bleeding, poison, and other persistent negative effects. The giant python lets out a pained hiss. It writhes and struggles frantically, but unable to break free from the stranglehold. Lilith's figure. She had appeared above the giant python's head at some point. He raised the curtain of falling arrows high in his hand. His eyes were cold as ice. The pitch-black scythe carried an aura capable of severing everything. Swoops down with unyielding force. A massive serpentine hand shoots skyward. The serpentine hand somersaulted twice in the air and crashed heavily into the swamp. That massive, headless serpentine body twitched a few times in place and then completely lost all signs of life. A dense ball of energy surged from the serpent lion and flows entirely into Lilith's body. The aura emanating from Lilith is rising again. Surging energy ripples out in all directions. The 6 stars of the Vedic tradition, at the same time, a purer stream of nourishing energy surges into my body. I can clearly feel it. My mental and physical strength taken another step forward. At that moment, I glanced at the score on the terminal. A full 25,000 points, topping the leaderboard. But that's not nearly enough. Points are just a drop in the bucket to me. Killing monsters and leveling up is the way to go. But deeper still. I didn't linger for a moment. Taking Lilith with me, continue on to other areas of the secret realm. Meanwhile, on the vast grasslands, deep within the secret realm, Song Xiang was hiding from Lin Zhon's strange behavior. Eyes staring intently at the massive cave not far away. At the mouth of the cave, a figure as massive as a small mountain. A male lion covered head to toe in dark reddish-brown fur is lying on the ground, fast asleep. Bloodthirsty Master. Elite Administrator, 9th rank, Fan Ji, and 7 stars. And behind that mighty lion, deep within the cave, A few strange plants emitting a faint red glow are swaying in the breeze. There are still 3 blood-red flowers. Song Xiang's breathing became rapid. His eyes were filled with greed. Blood gold flower. A method to significantly increase pre-sales for the 984 and below. Strength attribute. That is what makes it truly priceless. Lin Shui, bring me those flowers. Song Xiang lowered his voice and gives an order to the angel of light beside him. A flicker of hesitation passed through the bright angel's sapphire eyes. He could sense the lion, the terrifying power contained within. Once awakened, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hurry up! What are you afraid of? Song Xiang saw him hesitate. A look of impatience and ferocity appeared on his face. You're an epic angel. Are you afraid of an elite-level beast? Don't forget who saved you from that loser. You dare disobey my orders. The angel of light's wings trembled slightly. In the end, they succumbed. He suppressed all traces of his holy light. His figure was like a white shadow, sneaked silently into the cave. Song Xiang waits nervously outside. His heart was pounding. A few seconds later, the figure of the angel of light reappears. He has successfully obtained the 3 blood gold flowers. A look of wild joy appeared on Song Xiang's face. However, just as he was about to slip away quietly with the angel, reversal of fate, a deafening roar instantly echoed across the entire prairie. The bloodthirsty leader awakened his beast boy. He has Song Xiang and the angel firmly in his sights. A frenzied killing intent swept over him like a tidal wave. The theft of the treasure had completely enraged him. Hurry up and get me out of here! Song Xiang was scared out of his wits, urging him repeatedly. The angel of light immediately grabbed his shoulders. His wings flapped vigorously, turning into a streak of light as he fled into the distance. The bloodthirsty madmaster roared. Kicking up a cloud of dust, he gives chase. Faster! They're catching up! Song Xiang could feel the scent of blood getting closer behind him. His face drained of color. Screaming wildly, the angel of light has pushed its speed to the absolute limit. But after all, he's carrying someone, so his speed was inevitably affected. Watching the lion behind him, getting closer and closer, a flash of madness crossed Song Xiang's eyes. At this critical moment, the cold voice of the angel of light rang in his ears. There is a group of humans 1 kilometer ahead. Upon hearing this, Song Xiang was taken aback at first. Then a look of utter malice flashed in his eyes. Great! Lin Shu lured that beast over there. Let them hold off the lion for us. Everyone, give it your all. Take out this pangolin, and we'll make it into the top 100. One of the team members has her hair in a high ponytail, is directing the battle. This is Zhou Yutong, my high school class president. Right now, his team is working together seamlessly. Monster. Victory is within reach. But just then, a strong smell of blood, spreading without warning. The infection spreads, and immediately the ground begins to shake violently. What's going on? Was that an earthquake? The team members' expressions changed and stopped their attack, one after another. A strong sense of unease welled up in Zhou Yutong's heart. He jerked his head up, looking toward the source of the vibration. A streak of white light was approaching them at an astonishing speed, and behind that streak of light, a terrifying, dark red, male lion, thrashing about, is charging toward us with overwhelming ferocity. Run! Zhou Yutong's pupils suddenly contracted. She let out a piercing scream. But it was all too late. As that streak of white light passed over their heads, it immediately accelerated and sped away. And the bloodthirsty master, who had been lured there, poured all his fury onto the squad, blocking his path. Quick, defend! Zhou Yutong shouted in despair. His delicate hand, a 3-star ice-type mystic turtle, immediately takes the front line and raised a massive ice shield. However, in the face of a 7-star elite monster, all of this is in vain. The bloodthirsty master casually struck out with a palm strike, and that sturdy ice shield shattered like glass. Shattered. The black-shelled turtle let out a mournful cry. Its massive body was sent flying. A crack opened on the turtle shell, revealing a tree-like pattern. Zhou Yutong lets out a mournful cry. The other team members also launched their attacks, but those colorful skills land on bloodthirsty frenzy. It's not even a tickle. One player couldn't dodge in time and was ruled to have been hit. His whole body flies out like a kite whose string has snapped. He lost consciousness instantly. Despair engulfed the entire team. Zhou Yutong watched the male lion closing in step by step. Her whole body felt cold. My limbs feel weak. Am I going to die? Just as he closed his eyes and prepared to face death in its final moment, a faint, yet familiar voice rang in his ears. Lilith attacks. No sooner had the words left her mouth, several purple thorns appeared out of thin air. Shane clung tightly to the bloodthirsty master's limbs. The bloodthirsty master let out an angry roar, struggling frantically, only to find that those seemingly slender thorns were tougher than I could have imagined. The more you struggle, the thorns on the brambles only sink deeper into the flesh. Zhou Yutong suddenly opened her eyes. Right in front of him, a tall figure had appeared out of nowhere. And beside that figure, a woman in a dark purple long dress. A stunning woman with magnificent butterfly-like wings spread behind her, holding a massive, jet-black, scaly blade. He walked slowly toward the trapped lion. It was you, Zhou Yutong, who recognized the person. But my mind went blank. I can barely think. The one who has no presence in the class, that boy, who's always so quiet, is suddenly standing tall, and the jade beast by his side. Under his stunned gaze, Lilith raised the curtain of downfall high in her hands. The icy blade traced an arc of death. Without the slightest resistance, that massive corpse, along with half its body, was cleanly sliced in two and killed on the spot. Meanwhile, Cemetery City Newcomer Dungeon Monitoring Center. Huge circular room. Dozens of pieces of lightwood live, displaying scenes and data streams from various parts of the secret realm. The atmosphere is thick with tension. Dozens of staff members dressed in matching uniforms. All seem to be frozen in place, staring intently at the central main screen. That blinding data. Lu Feng, first in the standings. Points, 41, 350. Potential rating S. The passing score for a standard S-class rating is now 10,000. This student, named Lu Feng, actually scored more than 4 times the passing score for an S grade. An eerie silence lasted for a full 10 seconds or so. I'm not seeing things, am I? A young team member's voice is hoarse. He instinctively rubbed his eyes. How many years has it been since we at Lin Yuan produced an S-class level of potential? The next second, the tense atmosphere was completely ignited. It's truly S-class. Quick, look up info on this Lu Feng. Who is he? What's his pre-sale? I found some information that shows his initial pre-order was a light angel, but the contract failed. The contract failed. How is it possible to enter the secret realm and still come in first? Wait, there's an additional note at the end. He bought a defective face mask at the Apocalypse Merchants Guild. The entire surveillance feed exploded into view. Everyone was stunned by this strange information. A contract failed. The boy can only buy defective pre-order items. He's actually going on a killing spree in the beginner's dungeon. Zhang Min, the supervisor sitting at the main control console, on that face, which had long been stern and unsmiling, was now filled with shock. His gaze is fixed intently on the screen. It was replaying Lilith and I slaying the shadow steed, scene of the bloodthirsty master. No flashy tactics. Just a crushing, unstoppable onslaught. That demoness, known as the defective one. Every strike is precise and deadly, elegant and violent. The monster Zhang Ming ground out 2 words through clenched teeth. He jumped to his feet, his face flushed with intense emotion. Report this news to Mayor Lin immediately, he shouted at the aide standing beside him. The aide had just replied. Zhang Ming waved his hand again. His eyes burned with an unprecedented intensity. I'll personally guard the entrance to the secret realm. Zhou Yutong stands there blankly on the grassland. Her pupils still held the memory of that earth-shattering blow. The one who drove their entire squad into a corner is dead. Everything happening right before my eyes had completely overturned his understanding. He slowly turned his stiff neck and looked at the figure standing before him. What on earth is going on? When did the legendary human-shaped jade hand become so easy to obtain and so ridiculously powerful? The teammates around him seemed to have turned to stone, their faces filled with disbelief. The only sound in the entire scene is the wind. What are you spacing out about, squad leader? My voice, tinged with a hint of a smile, broke the silence. Zhou Yutong snapped out of it, finally coming to her senses after the immense shock. His cheeks flushed instantly. He was at a loss. Dufang, thank you for saving us. His tone was filled with sincere gratitude. Thank you, Big Lu, for saving my life. Big Shot, you're my hero. The other team members also realized what was happening and began expressing their gratitude to me all at once. I waved my hand. I didn't care about any of that. My gaze falls on Zhao Yutong. How did you guys end up tangling with a giant like this? Hearing that question, Zhao Yutong's face immediately betrayed her indignation, anger, and fear. We don't know either, he explained angrily. We're laying siege to the pangolin, and that lion was suddenly lured over. I saw a figure in the sky, deliberately luring the lion toward us. Once we were cornered, that person ran away. That's so despicable. It's like an angel. A teammate standing nearby added. Zhou Yutong's words suddenly caught in her throat. It seemed as though he had just realized something. He cautiously lifted his head to look at me. The whole school knows Song Xiang's pre-sale is the angel of light that was snatched from my hands. My gaze is calm and unruffled, but those who know me might be able to see a fleeting glimpse of coldness. Song Xiang, in order to save his own life, did not hesitate to shift the blame onto an innocent classmate. This despicable and shameless behavior is truly reprehensible. I didn't pursue the topic any further. Instead, I glanced at the team member treating the wounded. You're pretty badly injured. This is deep within the secret realm. Let's retreat to the outer perimeter for now. Zhou Yutong nodded. He also knew that in their current state, staying in the depths is tantamount to suicide. We're leaving right now. He looks at me. What about you guys? I smiled. I looked up at the countdown on the terminal. It's still early. We want to go a little further in. Zhou Yutong's mouth hangs slightly open, as if she wants to say something. Then be careful. I nodded. It was like a farewell. I won't stay any longer. Taking Lilith with me toward the deeper regions of the secret realm. Time remaining until today's secret realm closes. Less than 2 hours. We have to hurry until that figure is completely out of sight. Zhou Yutong finally looked away. An indescribably complex mix of emotions welled up inside her. Once upon a time, that unknown boy has risen to a height that makes him look up. Rinyuan City Hall. In the mayor's office on the top floor, the atmosphere is somewhat somber. The mayor's memorial candle stands by the window, gazing toward the east of the city. Haven't you found it yet? His voice was low and weary. Behind him stood Zhang Dong, director of the City Guard Bureau of Linyuan City. Shook his head solemnly. After the energy fluctuations occurred last night, we immediately deployed to East City, conducted a thorough search. No new spatial rifts were detected, nor are there any records of high-level powerhouses entering the realm. Zhang Dong's tone was also filled with confusion. That aura was as deep as an abyss and as vast as the sea, yet it vanished in an instant, as if it were merely an illusion. Yet the Spirit Fire, as a powerhouse of the celestial realm, could never have misperceived. Spirit Fire remained silent. Ruili's eyes flickered with thought. It is the unknown that is most unsettling. He turned around and returned to his spacious desk. Never mind, I'll just stay on guard. What's the situation with the manual? Are there any promising prospects this year? Speaking of that, Zhang Dong's expression relaxed a bit, but his tone carried a hint of regret. As things stand now, the one with the best grades is that kid from the Song family. Song Xiang has just over 6,000 points. The pre-sale is an epic bright angel. Potential rating has reached level 1, grade A. In previous years, this rating would have been considered top tier. But after Ling Huo heard this, she merely let out a barely audible sigh. Lin Yuan, it's been too long since we've seen a true genius. 3 years ago, we finally got a student with S-class potential, only for Imperial Capital University to snatch them away like a prized possession, and has become of the few bright spots. But after that, there were no more surprises. The future of a city ultimately depends on these people who are half their age. Without top-tier fresh blood, note, 0 yuan market will only become increasingly passive in the competition with surrounding cities. Just as the atmosphere in the office fell silent once again, The office door was flung open. A figure burst in. The intruder. It's the head of the newcomer dungeon monitoring center. Zhang Ning was gasping for air, unable to catch his breath. His face was a mixture of excitement, a complex mix of shock and ecstasy. Old Zhang, what's wrong with you? Zhang Dong saw how worldly he had become, couldn't help but frown. Ling Shi also looked up, and looked at this usually composed subordinate. Don't rush. Take your time. What happened? Zhang Ming swallowed hard, trying to calm his pounding heart. Mayor? We finally have another student with S-class potential. The words S-class struck like a bolt of lightning, and boomed through the quiet office. Zhang Dong's expression freezes instantly. Ling Wo, who had been leaning back in his chair, sits up abruptly, saying, "Are you sure you didn't see that wrong?" Zhang Ming nodded vigorously. He pulled up the data on his all-in-one terminal. Hikaru's hands were trembling slightly with excitement, and presented it to the two leaders. It is absolutely true. I saw it with my own eyes. This student, named Lu Feng, has already surpassed 40,000 points. Potential rating S. The moment I saw the data, I came straight over to report to you. His alert eyes were fixed intently on the light screen. Even his breathing had stopped. 40,000 points. And the data is several times higher than SNK lines. After a brief moment of memorization, agile and fierce, he slammed his fist on the table and sprang to his feet. The calm on his face is replaced by a look of fury. Great, this is a total surprise from heaven. The significance of an S-class genius to the Lingyuan clan is far beyond what an A-class can compare to. It's not just the positive terminal, but also the future hope of the Lingyuan clan. Shang Dong, standing nearby, also snapped out of his shock. His face lit up with a smile. Congratulations, Mayor! It's all thanks to your excellent leadership. It's because I'm so talented that such talent keeps emerging. He waved his hand casually. He had no mind for that right now. Go to the monitoring center. A fiery light burns in his eyes. I'll see for myself. This little guy named Lu Feng. Just what kind of genius is he? Right now, Lilith and I are in a deep valley. Ahead of me, more than 20 pairs of eyes, flickering with a gloomy green light, light up. It is a cluster of ridges. Each one is as big as a full-grown bull, and their backs are covered in bone spines as sharp as knife blades. Jamninke. Their strength generally ranges from 3 to 5 stars. And at the very front of the pack, a wolf of the largest build, almost twice the size of the other two groups, of the drumming wolf king, is using his cold, cruel eyes, staring intently at me and Lilith. Fan and 7 stars. This is a carefully planned ambush. Lilith's breathing isn't what it used to be. As steady as before. A fine sheen of sweat glistened on his pale forehead. A long, intense battle has taken a heavy toll on him as well. But his skill in wielding the curtain of arrows is as steady as a mountain. Not the slightest waver. Master, be careful. Lilith's voice was grave. Those bastards. They're more cunning than any monsters we've encountered before. We were chasing a 5-star that deliberately left a weakness exposed. Spying corridor, who deliberately left a trail. Who would have thought? These monsters, which seem to act purely on instinct, actually know how to use their companions as bait. A tactic to lure prey into a trap, however. Yet there was not a trace of tension or anxiety on my face. I just calmly scanned the room, surrounding them. A faint smile even curled at the corners of his mouth. At least that saves me from having to look for them one by one. The moment the words fell, Lilith immediately understood. The look she gave me was filled with absolute trust and a burning passion. Far more than before, a much deeper, purplish-black energy erupts from Lilith's body. The blood of the 7 intoxications. The power of the source of the drunkenness of hell. The bloodline of the 7 deadly sins. All who possess this bloodline possesses the potential to become one of the 7 great demons. All stats increase by 200 when the skill is activated. Can be turned off at any time. The side effect is, after shutting down, it will enter a brief state of weakness. All stats reduced by 20. But compared to the sheer power of this skill, this side effect is practically negligible. As the skill activates, Lilith's aura within the sand chamber grows ever stronger. His long jet black hair moves of its own accord, The dark purple butterfly wings spread out completely, exuberant and magnificent. Those captivating cat's eye eyes now seem infinitely deep. Within it burns a flame called destruction. The spine wolf king across from me. I thought the two prey before me were already at their limit. But this sudden turn of events brought to mind wails and unease. But as the ruler of this territory, his ferocity quickly overpowered Unease, the uneasy wolf king. He let out a roar that shook the valley. That is the call to battle. In an instant, more than 20 spine wolves moved simultaneously, from all directions, toward the two people in the center of the valley, rushing madly. Lilith moved too. His figure left a faint after-image where he stood, vanishing in an instant. A flash of black light. A spine wolf lunges toward the mirror first. The movement stops abruptly. A massive wolf's paw shoots up into the sky. Before the headless corpse could hit the ground, Lilith's figure has already appeared beside another spine wolf. The arrow traced an elegant and deadly arc. Then, with a proud lift, it breaks away. Lilith, at this moment, as if she had transformed into the Grim Reaper walking through hell. With every move he makes, every time he returns to the line, he takes a life with precision and efficiency. The seemingly ferocious momentum of the wolf pack is as fragile as a paper cut before him. In the brief span of a dozen or so breaths, 7 people were already lying on the ground. The spine wolf king's cold, cruel eyes, staring intently at Lilith. He thought his prey was already finished. But a deep tunnel suddenly burst open inside his thigh. The energy that makes his soul stand tall completely overturned his understanding. A low growl escaped the wolf king's throat. His massive body instinctively took a half step back. Fear, an emotion long forgotten, spread through his heart for the first time. But as the ruler of this territory, a long-standing instinct to kill quickly overpowered that unease. The wolf king raised his head and let out a roar that shook the valley. That was the final moment of madness. The dozen or so remaining chicken bone wolves, along with the wolf king, 152,200 to 3351, 300 to 0 hours 33 minutes and 53 launched a desperate charge at the 200. Two of them. Lilith moved, as if she had become the Grim Reaper walking through hell, stirring up death among the pack. After Lilith took care of the last minions, the wolf king's bone spines erupted all over his body. He sensed a mortal threat, unlike any he had ever faced. He opened his mouth wide. A ghastly white mass of bone and hair coalesces in his mouth. It shoots toward Lilith with a whistling sound. This is his strongest attack. But Lilith's figure merely flickered slightly and easily dodged the feathered drum. The next second, he was already in front of the wolf king. The wolf king's massive shadow, completely engulfing his petite frame. He raised his sharp, massive claws and brought them down with a vicious blow. But Lilith didn't flinch or dodge. He simply raised his head slowly. Those eyes, burning with the flames of destruction, gazed silently at him. A pitch-black blade, carrying the resolve to sever fate, swinging fiercely from below. No earth-shattering roar, nor the dazzling flash of colliding energy. The wolf king's mighty, powerful swamp base freezes mid-air, a faint streak of blood extending from the center of his forehead all the way to the tip of his tail. The next second, the drum beats. The wolf king's massive body, along with his hard bones, was neatly split in two. A pure ball of energy gushes out from the wolf king's split corpse, all flowing into Lilith's body. The aura emanating from Lilith began to rise wildly once again. The surging energy fluctuations of Fan and the 7 stars spread wildly in all directions from him. At the same time, a more powerful energy of reciprocity surged through my entire body. My spiritual power surges again. I opened Lilith's panel. Lilith, Witch of the Night. Level 7. Power 151. Agility 165. Stamina 156. Spirit 172. Look at this terrifying mental data that's broken the 3-digit mark. My heart couldn't help but skip a few beats. That is the terrifying nature of legend and talent. Standard elite level presale. Even at 7-star, the strongest stats are only around 50 points. And Lilith is exactly 3 times their size. My gaze fell on the final cultivation recommendation. Eternal Night Orb. Water from the springs of hell. Nightmare crystals. Each of these materials is extremely valuable. If we can get our hands on these materials, I can quickly get Lily to the second tier of the legendary realm. If we can continue training her step by step like this, until the myth and inner, what a terrifying scene it will be. I suppressed the excitement in my heart. I immediately open the all-in-one terminal and connect to the network. Start exploring Linyuan City. Material catalogs from major merchant guilds. Search all materials on the panel. The results all show no such item found. I furrowed my brow slightly. It seems the value of these items far exceeds my expectations. At least in a small to medium-sized city like Linyuan, it's simply impossible to find. A sense of loss wells up inside me, but I quickly regained my composure. It's too early to think about that now. The top priority is still passing the college entrance exam and get into a top-tier university. Only by reaching a higher level can we reach a wider world and have a chance to obtain these legendary materials. At this point, there are less than 10 minutes left on the countdown. Lilith, we have to go. I call out softly. The dark purple energy surrounding Lilith slowly recedes. The state of blood of intoxication is lifted. A wave of intense weakness washed over me. Her body instinctively leaned against mine. I took the opportunity to pull her into my arms. I turned and walked out of the valley with Lilith. After a familiar bout of dizziness, a solid sensation came from beneath my feet. The blinding sunlight and the city's clamor instantly replaced the chill and stillness of the hidden realm. We're back at People's Square in Linyuan City. Newlyweds have already gathered in the square. Best wishes. They gathered together to discuss their harvest. When Lilith and I appeared, everyone's eyes are involuntarily drawn to it. It's simply that Lilith's beauty and charm are just too outstanding. She quietly linked her arm through mine. On that stunning face, a languid look, as if she had just been through a fierce battle, and an added touch of captivating charm. Just then, a staff member wearing a Chen Guard uniform walked quickly toward us. Attention, salute. Is this Mr. Lu Feng? I nodded. A smile appeared on the staff member's face. Mr. Lu Feng, congratulations. In this beginner's dungeon, you've achieved an S-rank potential rating. Mr. Lin Huo, the mayor of Linyuan City, would like to invite you to take a step in the snow. S-class mayor. Those two words shocked the crowd eavesdropping nearby. Their faces were etched with disbelief. Upon hearing this, I immediately set about the matter, but I quickly realized what was going on. It seems the commotion I caused in the secret realm this time were indeed a bit too loud. I have no reason to refuse. I nodded calmly. Please lead the way. I, accompanied by Lilith, followed the staff toward the loft at the edge of the square. This attic belongs to the Chen Weiju. The gray-white exterior walls give it a solemn and dignified appearance. I followed the staff member to the door of the conference room on the second floor. I push the door open and walk in. The conference room is sparsely furnished. A long conference table, a few chairs, nothing else. But the two people sitting in the main seats made the atmosphere in the entire room feel particularly heavy. One of them, I've seen it on the news in Linyuan City. He is the city's highest authority, Mayor Flex. The other is wearing dark blue Chen Weiju uniform. The stars on his epaulets gleam. Her eyes are radiant. Director Chen Weiju, Zhang Dong. The moment Lilith and I walked in, both of them turned their gaze toward us at once. Then they saw Lilith's Nico. Even a mayor and a director with high rank and power. A look of sudden realization involuntarily flashed across their eyes, but they quickly composed themselves. Her gaze, now filled with emotion, fell upon me once more, filled with scrutiny and curiosity. Please have a seat, Mayor. Lin Hu speaks first. His voice was gentle, with the composure of one long accustomed to power. I didn't hesitate to pull out a chair and sit down. Lilith stood quietly behind me. Her expression was cold. I am Lin Huo, mayor of Linyuan City. This is Zhang Dong, director of the Public Security Bureau of Linyuan City. Zhang Dong shook my hand with a slight tremor. That counts as a greeting. Lu Feng. Truly, heroes emerge from the young. Lin Huo's gaze shifts between me and Lily Temple. Back and forth. I stand at the edge of the abyss. The city is already very It's been many years since a genius like you has appeared. His voice betrayed his unhidden delight. The mayor has passed through the prison. It was just luck. I rubbed my nose and laughed. Ling Ho's smile grew even broader. He was neither arrogant nor impatient. Calm and composed, his assessment of the young man before him rose a few notches. I remember 3 years ago, our city of Lingyuan also produced a genius with an S7 rating. Xiao Luwani. What's your relationship with him? Add or subtract? Lingwo puts down the teacup and bursts into hearty laughter. Truly a pair of outstanding talents. Sister and brother, the pride of the heavens. You two really are a source of pride for our Ling Yun family. Zhang Dong, standing nearby, also smiled. He picked up on the conversation and said with emotion, I remember it very clearly. Lu Wanyi's initial pre-sale back then was the nine-tailed celestial fox, whose stats were on an epic level in the college entrance exam back then. His performance virtually crushed all his peers in the Lingyuan clan. I never expected that 3 years later, after another round of mutual business praise, Lingwo steered the conversation back on track. His expression turned serious. Lu Feng. The reason I asked you to come here is mainly because of one thing. Your super high score have broken the record, the points record for newcomers in adverse conditions over the past decade. According to the rules, the faction will grant you a generous reward. I heard the word reward. A look of joy couldn't help but appear on my face. Lingwo took in my reaction. It seems this young man isn't entirely without desires. The reward is 10 million alliance coins. It will be deposited directly into your account. Lingwo announced that staggering figure, 10 million. That's enough money to make any ordinary family instantly leap over the class divide. Yet I merely raised an eyebrow and immediately asked Mayor Lin, can this reward be exchanged for materials of equal value? He raised an eyebrow nonchalantly, a look of admiration in his eyes. What materials do you need? I felt a surge of joy and immediately changed the 3 on Lilith's panel. Materials from Lilith's panel. Wen Yan's expression, a complex mix of surprise and strangeness. The atmosphere in the conference room is somewhat quiet. My heart, too, lifted slightly. Lu Feng. Do you know what these 3 materials you mentioned mean? The agile voice turns deep. These 3 materials, each is used to cultivate top-tier strategies and supplies, not to mention here in Linyuan City, even across the entire Yanhuang Kingdom. It is still extremely rare. Are priceless treasures. It's virtually impossible for them to circulate on the market. Hearing this, my heart sank. Linghuo looked at the undisguised disappointment on my face. The tone suddenly shifted. But the water from the hellspring you mentioned, in the treasury of our city of Lingyuan, just happened to have some survivors. A few years ago, a small spatial fissure appeared in the eastern suburbs of Lingyuan City. At the time, the city organized an exploration team to enter and brought back some water from Hell Spring. This water, from the springs of hell, is used to cultivate demons. One of the best materials for Wang Linglei's pre-sale, and that is precisely why it is extremely valuable. According to market estimates, each is worth over 20 million alliance credits. Spiritfire said this. Looked at me. That 10 million prize can't buy even one of your... My heart is like a roller coaster. One moment soaring to the heavens, the next plummeting to the depths. But Lin Hu's next words gave me a glimmer of hope. However, there's still a chance for you to get a free copy. My heart skipped a beat. It almost slipped out. What a chance! The look on Lin Hu's face finally broke into a smile of triumph. Last year, in the Blackstone Mountains, southwest of Linyuan City, a brand new secret realm has emerged retro. In my mind, immediately brought to mind knowledge about the dungeon. The vast majority of dungeons can be re-explored as treasure troves, and dungeons are the precursors to the secret realm. They usually have a powerful final boss. Only the first time you defeat the boss, that you can earn the most generous completion rewards. Once the boss is defeated, the instance will gradually transform into a dungeon, explored by the palace people. Is there anything special about this dungeon? I immediately grasped the crux of the matter, and nodded slightly. His expression turned serious. This instance has a level cap Only mortal tier masters and beastmasters may enter. Any being above the mortal rank, forcibly breaking in, will immediately cause the entire instance to collapse. And, according to last year's, from the team that entered the dungeon, the final boss of that dungeon is a 9-star spirit-type monster with a counterattack. I instantly understood where Chastity was. Psychic-themed pre-orders are already extremely rare, and Lin Yuan lives in a small to medium-sized city. I want to find someone who, at the Mortal Realm stage, who can stand up to a 9-star spirit-type monster. It is indeed difficult. So this copy was shelved? Zhang Dong added, "This is a juicy opportunity right at our fingertips. But I just can't bring myself to eat it. Don't you think that's frustrating?" Lin Hu said this, and Bu jingled. He looked at me with a burning gaze. "Lu Feng, there's no one more suitable than you. Once this dungeon is clear, Lin Yuanxi will release a brand new manual. This is a tremendous blessing for the entire city. And you, as the key to the top engineer, the faction will never skimp on rewards. That Water of Hell's authority as your reward. I don't think anyone would question the significance." Meanwhile, at the exit of the People's Square secret realm, a tall, imposing figure stood surrounded by the crowd. The man approaching is none other than Song Xiang. He had changed into designer casual wear, with a confident and arrogant smile on his face. By his side, that holy, beautiful, radiant angel Ling Shu, quietly following him, like a goddess untouched by the mundane world, instantly capturing the attention of the entire audience. Is that the light angel with epic level potential? So beautiful. Wanting Baji, the Song family members immediately surrounded him. Her face was lit up with a smile meant to charm the girls. Is Song Shao definitely going to come in first this time? With the angel of light here, what do the others have to compete with young Master Song? Listening to the flattery ringing in his ears, Song Xiang's smile grew even more smug. He reached out his hand and gently stroked Xia, Angel's soft, long golden hair. "I'll take first place in a moment. I'll buy you Holy Light Essence as soon as I get back, so you can break through to 6-star as soon as possible." Lin Shu lowered her eyelids slightly. A satisfied smile played at the corners of her mouth. "Thank you, Master." Song Xiang's heart was ablaze. He recalled a deal he had made in the secret realm. To make absolutely sure, he used 3 extremely rare blood gold flowers to exchange for a full 3,000 points, plus the monsters he hunted himself. He earned over 6,000 points. His total score has already exceeded 9,300 points. This score is enough to crush all the top-tier geniuses in the online world. He is undoubtedly the best. Just as he was lost in his own fantasies, a low humming sound rang out. The massive light screen in the center of the square finally lit up. Everyone held their breath. Countless pairs of eyes, staring intently at the constantly scrolling list, searching for his name. Song Xiang's gaze is fixed directly on the very top of the list. Finally, his eyes flashed. The information for the top 3 is frozen on the screen. 3rd place, Li Hao. Points, 3, 150. Potential rating, BGA. 2nd place, Song Xiang. Points 9, 325 potential rating. The smile on Song Xiang's face froze. How could I possibly be second? He even instinctively rubbed his eyes, thinking he was seeing things. But the handwriting was crystal clear. Lin Shu's expression changed. Her eyes darted quickly over the list, but couldn't find the one he'd been secretly courting. A name he thought could never appear. Impossible. A contract for defective endometrial waste? How could it possibly surpass the one with a history? Song Xiang, a brilliant angel of the Shi class. But the very next second, the tip of the light finally fills with blinding data. 1st place, Lu Feng, 0 hours 42 minutes and 44 seconds to 0 hours 42 minutes and 46 seconds. Points 41,350 potential rating S. The entire square was instantly blown to smithereens. I'm not seeing things, am I? Who is this Lu Feng? Is this a score a human could achieve? But Song Xiang's mind went blank. The 9,000 plus points he was so proud of looked so ridiculous next to that number. How dare a worthless piece of trash he's trampling underfoot? A piece of trash who signed a contract for defective pre-sales to get an S rank. The immense humiliation and resentment were burning away at his sanity. A roar of defiance burst from Song Xiang's throat. He stretched out a trembling finger toward the name hanging high above the light. It must be cheating, but it's absolutely impossible. A staff member wearing a Chen Guard uniform walked over. Please watch your language, student. All data for this dungeon is following a joint inspection by the monitoring center and the mayor. There are no issues. The rankings are accurate and valid. Official certification dashed Songxiang's last hopes. Completely shattered his pride. The stares from the crowd around him have turned into undisguised pity and mockery. Songxiang could no longer stay here. Let's go. He grabs Angel Lingshu's arm. Under the gaze of countless onlookers, I squeezed my way out of the crowd, feeling rather flustered. I swear that during the actual college entrance exam, I will definitely trample you underfoot. A roar of determination echoes in Songxiang's heart. The angel he drags along. Liang chokes as he follows behind him, his face as pale as paper. A thought that made his very soul tremble surfaced uncontrollably. Was his choice back then really the right one? Night falls. Lilith and I had just come out of the attic. In the conference room on the second floor of the attic, Lingho stands side by side with Zhang Dong, watching the two figures walk away hand in hand. Zhang Dong looks away and is the first to break the silence. Mayor, do you really think he can succeed? Lingho didn't answer right away. After a moment, he spoke slowly. Do we have any other choice? A rhetorical question left Zhang Dong speechless. He turned around nimbly, with a meaningful smile. Did you forget what level his pre-sales were at? Legendary Collection, a view of the entire land of the Yellow River. To achieve legendary status at this age, and pre-release acclaim, apart from the prodigies of the top clans in the Imperial capital, how many others? Let alone, you saw for yourself how he performed in the secret realm. Trust him. He's already part of our Linyuan city. Most promising candidate. By the time I got home, it was already past 7 p.m. I had just sat down on the couch when the terminal on my wrist started vibrating. A video call request pops up on the screen. I pressed the answer button. A striking figure appeared on the screen. It was my older sister, Lu Wanyi. That brat finally answered the call. After making sure I haven't lost any limbs, she breathed a sigh of relief. How about that? Did your breakup in the secret realm go smoothly this time? Everything went smoothly. And with Lilith protecting me, how could I get hurt? I replied with a smile. Lu Wanyi gave a soft snort and immediately changes into an enthusiastic expression. Quick, tell me how your breakup in the secret realm went. What score did you get? I should be able to scrape by with a level 1 rating. I'm not asking for much. Just don't embarrass me. I watched him trying to act all nonchalant. And, without beating around the bush, said calmly. Lu Wanyi on the other end of the S-Class screen. Her expression froze instantly, as if he thought he had misheard. What did you say? I said the potential rating is S-Class. I repeated it. After a brief silence, Lu Wanyi's voice erupted from the communicator. Just like my brother, Lu Wanyi. He lifted his chin triumphantly, as if he were the one who had received the S-rank evaluation. After the excitement, he remembered something. Oh right, what were Lilith's stats again? You didn't get a chance to tell me last time. But I'm glad you got an S rank. You must have at least epic level potential. It's legendary. Or legendary? Lu Wan instinctively replied. Then she realized. His eyes widened in shock. This time, the shock was far greater than before. He stared at me for a long time, unable to speak. After a long while, he sighed with mixed emotions. You've really hit the jackpot. I smiled and didn't argue. Then the tone shifted, about Mayor Linghuo wanting to talk to me. I've recounted it 5 times. After hearing this, the smile on Lu Wanyi's face vanished instantly. It was replaced by deep concern and solemnity. No, it's too dangerous. That's a 9-star monster. And the most troublesome mental hazard. You've only just become the warden. How could you take such a risk? Besides, I need the Water of Hell's authority. I interrupted him, my tone calm but firm. Lu Wanyi froze. He certainly knew the value of such high-grade materials, and understands what this means for the growth of pre-sales. He fell into a long silence. Reason told him he should stop his younger brother from taking the risk, but he also knows that for the warden, how crucial such an opportunity was. If I miss this opportunity the mayor has given me, next time I want to get a genius security guard of this caliber. Who knows how long we'll have to wait. After a long while he let out a quiet sigh. I understand. His expression turned incredibly serious. The remaining Eternal Night Pearls. Dream Bath Crystals. These materials. I'll keep an eye out for you here in the Imperial capital as well. But you have to promise me. Enter the dungeon tomorrow. Safety first. Never try to be a hero. Did you hear that? I nodded vigorously. After giving a few more instructions, he hung up. Just then, a faint sound of the bathroom door opening behind him. A faint, delicate scent mingled with the dampness of the air, quietly wafts through the air. A warm, soft, and slippery suburban, gently pressed up against me from behind. A pair of arms as white as jade, wrapped around my neck. Lilith just got out of the shower, with only a white bath towel loosely draped around her. He tilted his delicate chin, gently on my shoulder. Master, his voice is very soft. Thank you for everything you've done for Lilith. From fighting for your life against all odds, to a passionate argument in the attic, he saw it all. He knows that everything his master does is for him, in order to find those precious things that can make him stronger, filled his heart with an indescribable sense of emotion. Lilith, feeling a pang of sadness, pressed her cheek even closer. Actually, being able to meet my master and break free from that damn curse. I am already quite content. Can I become even stronger? None of that matters to me. As long as I can stay by my master's side like this, that's all that matters. His words made my heart skip a beat. I can feel it. The sincerity and humility in the witch's words. I reached out my hand and gently placed it over, still resting on her. My voice was low and gentle. I'm not doing this just to, but also for myself, so that we can be safer. Survive. So don't overthink it. The next morning, Lilith and I are all set. The hovercar has been waiting quietly downstairs. Lilith and I got into the car. The hovercar started up silently in the back seat, smoothly merging into traffic, heading toward the Blackstone Mountains on the outskirts of the city. The scenery outside the window rushes by. Finally, endless black cliffs fill the entire view. The entrance to the dungeon, located in a valley under tight security by the City Guard Bureau. Space warps erratically at the entrance. Like ripples on water, Zhang Dong, director of the City Guard Bureau, had been waiting for quite some time. He saw me get out of the car. His furrowed brow finally relaxed a little. Zhang Dong didn't waste any words. He walked straight up. With a grave expression he points at the distorted portal. He begins to share the latest intelligence on the dungeon. This dungeon, after numerous remote reconnaissance and intelligence analysis, it has been confirmed that the interior is not an ordinary cave or ruin. We have named it the Tidal Maze. The monsters inside are mostly controlled by the leader's spiritual energy. That is also his biggest challenge. Inside, you'll not only have to face endless attacks, but you must also guard against the leader's psychic attacks. As he spoke, he took the brocade scroll from his bosom and unfurled it, and placed a warm yellow jade pendant, and solemnly placed it in my hand. This is fresh jade. It can boost your mental resistance. Crush it in a moment of crisis. It can form a powerful, one-time psychic shield. Remember, you only get one chance. I feel a faint chill emanating from the jade pendant. I solemnly place it around my neck. I nodded. Then, under the gaze of the people of Jiangdong, Lilith and I stepped into that space, hand in hand. Ripples, a dizzying sensation of weightlessness swept over me. By the time she felt solid ground beneath her feet again, I found myself in a whole new world. This is a work by Gray. Black rock, walls soaring high to the ceiling. I can't see the sky. Only a faint glow seeps through the cracks in the rocks. Countless paths stretch out before me, intricately intertwined. As far as the eye can see, the air is filled with faint spiritual fluctuations, like invisible tentacles, constantly teasing the intruder's nerves, trying to lure them into madness and destruction. Several dark figures suddenly lunge out from the shadows on the side. There were several creatures whose minds had been warped by the psychic energy of this place. Low-level monsters, with bizarre forms, eyes bloodshot. Lilith doesn't even intend to strike. He just lifted his gaze. A smooth purple glow appeared in his eyes. The bodies of those monsters, charging forward, will instantly let out a desperate howl in midair. Their bodies begin to convulse violently. Then, right in front of me, they began wailing and comforting themselves. Even without using his skills, Belilith's mental power can still affect the low-paid Xiao Guan. I'm not surprised by this. I wasn't running around the maze like a headless fly, but opened the terminal on my wrist. Zhangdong. I've already sent the map explored by the City Guard Bureau. Typed in. A pale blue light flashed before my eyes. A 3D map of the entire maze, clearly laid out before us. A golden path, intelligently mapped out by the terminal, through layer upon layer of passages, pointing straight to the deepest part of the maze, the boss's lair. With the map to guide us, we follow the golden route. We speed through the maze. We encountered several more waves of monsters controlled by psychic powers, but Lilith dealt with them all, using the simplest and most efficient way. A few hours later, the view suddenly opens up. A colossal underground cavern appeared before us. Finally, I've met the final boss of this dungeon. A colossal creature lurks right in the center of the cavern. A massive green mass of flesh over 10 meters in diameter, with a slimy, slippery surface like slime. A giant eyeball in the center of the mass of flesh. Countless thick, translucent nerve tentacles extend from the bottom of the mass of flesh, deeply embedded in the cave, the forearms, and the ground. I immediately open the cheat panel. Meningeal Resignation Hero, Level 5. Level, Low Tier 9-star, Strength 51. Agility 78, Constitution 63, Spirit 170. The moment Lilith and I appeared, Numan locked onto me, but he didn't attack right away. A silent, sinister chuckle rippled out from him. 0 hours 49 minutes and 42 seconds to 0 hours 49 minutes and 44 seconds, and instantly spread throughout the entire maze. The next second, passages in the caves opened up in all directions. A dark, swarming horde of monsters, surging forth like a tidal wave. These monsters have bloodshot eyes, and have completely lost their sanity. Their ranks range from 2 stars to 5 stars, and there are as many as several dozen of them. They fearlessly charge into the depths of the meninges, forming a desperate ring of flesh and blood. The meninges are clearly the most primitive and most effective swarm tactics, and wear down the 2 enemies in front of me. I looked at this seemingly endless nest of monsters, but the expression on my face grew somewhat strange. I saw through the meninges' cautious and vicious tactics. I turned my head and whispered to Lilith beside me. He's afraid of us. He wants to use these cannon fodder to wear us down. In that case, we'll give him a big surprise. Lilith steps forward. Black skirt. Hanging in a windless cave, it flutters slightly. He raised his pale, almost transparent hand to his chest. Her red lips part slightly. Ancient, gray, yet fatally seductive syllables, flowing slowly from the tip of his throat. The sound isn't loud, yet it possesses a certain soul-piercing magic, echoing clearly in every corner of the cave, even drowning out the sound of roar of hundreds or even thousands of monsters charging. Skill, Things of the Dead Zone, centered on the caster, summoning a blue-purple mist that envelops the surroundings. Units that inhale the mist will fall under an illusion. Identify friend or foe, even if not inhaled, as long as there is outer tissue and is exposed to mist for a long time. Can also get sick. As the last syllable falls, a thick, impenetrable mist of deep purple, centered on Lilith's body, rapidly spreading out in all directions. This thing churns as if it were a living creature. In the mist, countless graceful and enchanting figures are dancing. Countless stunning faces are smiling at you. In the air is filled with one of those many things that corrupt the soul. That voice burrows into my ears, easily evoking the most primal, deepest desires for killing and destruction. A surging horde of monsters crashed headlong into this eerie outbuilding, the 5-star rock troll at the forefront, his crimson eyes controlled by the meninges. The moment they came into contact with this object, the light in his eyes, from the enslaved wind, into a completely uncontrolled fury, The rock troll let out a deafening roar. This roar is no longer directed at Lilith and me up ahead. He spun around abruptly. His fist, as big as a clay pot, was encased in hard rock, slammed it hard into the 4-star wolf summoner beside him. The wolf didn't even have time to react. His entire skull was smashed to pieces. This scene was like a signal. A brutal massacre begins. After the entire horde of monsters charged into the mist's range, completely lost control. The entire cave, in just over 10 seconds, into a hellish realm of severed limbs. Standing in the center of the cavern, the pupils of his eyes contract violently. Unbelievable, incomprehensible, and a terror that runs deep. The mind control he prided himself on, the moment he came into contact with that eerie entity, it melted away, as if swept away by a tidal wave. He could clearly feel the psychic link between himself and those monsters was being overpowered. More superior, an even more unquestionable spiritual force forcibly cuts off. Not just cut off, that delicate, beautiful humanoid pre-order turns out to be a psychic who's infinitely more terrifying than him. The controller must flee immediately. That thought instantly consumed his entire mind. A dull thud. The brain struggles against the bloated, slimy, massive body, suddenly breaks free from the rock floor. Those translucent nerves embedded in the cave walls, each tentacle is forcibly torn out, sending up a cloud of debris and dust. The thickest of the tree-like stone roots, like the tentacles of an octopus, it began to slide rapidly across the ground. His massive, fleshy mass, over 10 meters in diameter, moved in a manner, at a speed. The wolf fled into the dark passage deep within the cave. Trying to get away, Lilith standing in the center of the purple mist, watching the giant meatball scrambling to escape. A cold, contemptuous curve formed at the corner of his mouth. His figure left a faint after-image where he stood. His entire body turned into a black bolt of lightning, and instantly gave chase, watching Lilith's black shadow of death. Getting closer and closer, the demon suddenly changed direction, ignoring Lilith chasing after him. He focused all his mental energy into a single point, compressing it into an intensely piercing, deathly pale beam of light. Soul Death Ray. The next moment, that beam of light, with lightning speed, captured this fast and fierce strike. Just as the death ray was about to hit me, Lilith appeared out of nowhere. He decisively abandoned the pursuit, even though he was blocking my path with that back of yours that seems so fragile, and took the blow head on. Lilith let out a muffled groan. A trickle of blood seeps from the corner of her mouth. But his body took up the space, holding me firmly behind him. He turned to look at me, unharmed. In those amber eyes were filled with relief and gratitude. Seeing Lilith get hurt, my gaze instantly turned as cold as ice. I took out a healing potion from my waist pouch and gave it to Lilith to drink, and after Lilith confirmed that the director was safe, slowly turned her head. In those amber eyes that once captivated everyone, there remained only an icy, ruthless intent. Overwhelming rage. Damn it, 7. Drunken blood. As his words fell, an indescribable aura of terror erupted from within him, sweeping through the entire cave. Lilith's presence grows stronger. Her body radiates a subtle pressure several times stronger than before. His brain trembled violently with fear. He pulls away from Lilith, a connection deep within his bloodline. Irresistible, absolute dominance. Lilith vanishes from view. The next second, a cold whisper, filled with endless venom, echoing behind the meninges. Now feel what despair is. An indescribable, suffocating terror centers on him, like an invisible storm, instantly swept through the entire space. All stats increased by 200. His power, agility system, spirit has reached an astonishing value at this moment. Lilisi moved. His figure left a faint afterimage in its place. Naaman couldn't even tell where the attack came from. The right side of his massive mass of flesh, and suddenly burst open into a massive wound deep enough to expose the bone. Thick, dark blue-black blood, gushing from the wound like a fountain. But what terrified the meninges even more was the size of the wound sliced open by the sickle. Not only showed no signs of healing, but instead, a strange black energy is frenetically eating away at the flesh around the wound. preventing all his self-healing abilities from taking effect. A silent, sinister chuckle, erupting with extreme pain and venom. This is the meninges' most powerful psychic attack, enough to make any monster of the same level to be instantly killed. This mental shock crashed violently into Lilith, who was just inches away. But Lilith's eyes are monolids. In her violet eyes, burning with overwhelming fury, there was only coldness and indifference. The emotional shock hits her. It dissipated without a trace, without causing a ripple. Empowered by the blood of the Seven Falls, her psychic power has long since transcended the limits of what the mind can comprehend. One miss. Meninges is completely desperate. Lilith's figure once again transformed into a black bolt of lightning, circling around the massive body of the meningel, a brutal and efficient slaughter. With every swing of the guilty chain, leaves a mark, deep, gaping wounds. This whole battle can no longer be called a battle. Standing outside the circle of battle, I calmly observed the entire battle, but my brow furrowed slightly. Through the invisible bond between them, I can clearly sense Lily. The intense depletion of energy within her body, the immense power granted by the blood of the seven sins, does not come without a price. Plus, earlier, to clear out the grunts, the wide area skill, Lilith's resource consumption is enormous. Even for me, feel like a stinging pain, like a needle prick. But signs of mental energy being over-extracted through the contract? We must end this quickly. Just then, the meninges, already dismembered beyond recognition, seems to have realized its inevitable fate. Despair gave birth to a final frenzy. His remaining eyeball suddenly burst simultaneously with the bloodlight of the utmost horror. A wave of destructive energy erupts from the core of his shattered body. He poured all his remaining life force and mental energy into one final strike. A massive, unstoppable psychic shockwave exploded out from him. And this time, the target is still me. This is his final desperate move to take everyone down with him. He was convinced that as long as he could kill this seemingly incredibly fragile jade pillar, this utterly terrifying humanoid jade beast will inevitably be severely damaged as well, or even death. This mental shockwave came too suddenly. Lilith is in the middle of an attack. It's already too late to turn back. On his face, revealed for the first time an uncontrollable sense of anxiety and shock. Panic. However, standing right in front of the shockwave, I showed not the slightest trace of fear. He even let out a cold, mocking laugh. I slowly raised my hand, just before the psychic shockwave was about to hit my body, crushed the smooth jade pendant on his chest. A crisp cracking sound rang out. A thick, earth-colored light, as solid as a city wall, shone, enveloped me completely, fitting like a glove. A mental shockwave also crashes in. It collided with the light and shattered with a crash, finally dissolving into harmless specks of light, vanishing into thin air. In the light, I am unharmed. Meningel exudes utter despair and bewilderment. His consciousness is forever frozen in this moment. That pitch-black scythe, wrapped in a crimson glow, has finally fulfilled its mission. He froze the core of the meninges, completely extinguishing his last glimmer of life. After severing the meninges, a massive, unprecedented burst of light surged in Lilith's body. Lilith's body glows with a purple light, and I felt my spiritual power increase, and my physical condition has improved. Lilith has leveled up Fanjabaxing. With the death of the dungeon's final boss, the entire space shook violently. A series of massive black voids appeared. Cracks appear on the walls and ceiling of the cave, falling rapidly like raindrops. The entire labyrinth of the swarm is heading toward destruction. The frenzied aura emanating from Lilith surges like a tidal wave. Fade. The side effects of the 7 drunkenness elixir instantly washed over me. A wave of intense weakness swept over his entire body. His body fell backward. A warm and strong embrace. Catching him securely, I held him tightly in my arms. Pale-faced and frail witch, preparing to activate the teleportation. Leave this place of strife that is about to collapse. Just then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw, amid the scattered flesh and ashes of the meninges, there is a unique, pale blue glow. It is quietly flickering. What is that? My heart skipped a beat. I held Lilith close. Boulders keep collapsing and crashing down around Hattori. He dashes forward and picked up the object, which looked like a deep-sea sapphire. Crystalline, golden river. The golden river feels warm to the touch. It feels as if a dazzling galaxy is flowing within, exuding a pure and majestic spiritual aura. The moment I touched this golden river, a line of text flashed through my mind. Soul fusion effect significantly increases the Jade Master's maximum spiritual power. And soul strength allows ordinary Jade Masters who meet the spiritual power requirements to meet the need for early presales. My breathing became rapid. For presale purposes, that's only for Jade Masters who have advanced to level 0, can possess the ability to create an independent, dimensional space within one's body, not only allowing the presale to rest and recuperate within it, but also greatly accelerates the recovery process. It can also be used to store items. It has endless uses. This little gold box is of such value to an ordinary Jade Master is simply immeasurable. This is completely unexpected. Today's haul is huge. Giant boulders, each over several meters in diameter, crashed down all around us. Without a moment's hesitation, I grabbed Lilith in my arms even tighter, clutching that soul tightly in her hand, essence, and silently chanting the teleportation spell. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the entrance to the Maze of the Tides. A dozen or so rescue workers in white protective suits quickly surrounded him. A bright beam swept over Lilith and me. One by one, portable, the vital signs monitor emits a faint chime. A complex stream of data reports flashes across the screen. Target's vital signs are stable. Massive mental energy drain. No visible injuries. Target's life force is stable, but energy readings are significantly weakened. Multiple soft tissue contusions throughout the body. No life-threatening injuries. A rescuer quickly reports the situation. Just then, a tall figure pushed through the crowd and walked briskly over. It was Zhang Dong. His face was etched with conceal. You're finally back, safe and sound. I hold Lilith in my arms and look back over my shoulder. The cave, which had been pitch black, had completely vanished, leaving only a smooth rock face. Is the entrance closed? My voice is a little hoarse. Zhang Dong nodded vigorously. According to our monitoring, this unstable new instance has been permanently shut down. It won't be long. A brand new, stable secret manual will be formed here, representing the entire Linyuan clan. On behalf of the entire Linyuan clan, thank you and your pre-sale for your outstanding contribution. The City Guard rescue team members. The way they looked at me is also filled with admiration and curiosity. Zhang Dong continued. I know you're very tired right now, but you still need to briefly describe the situation inside the instance, especially regarding the final boss. This is all extremely valuable information. I'm holding Lilith. I described the situation succinctly, but it was just these few sentences caused quite a stir among the crowd. A lone individual burst in. There are hundreds of monsters. The horde of monsters is turning on each other. Everyone's gaze is fixed on the creature in my arms, on that seemingly delicate, sleeping witch. Her eyes were filled with awe and reverence. Even Zhang Dong couldn't help but gasp. Is this the power of the legend and the presale? He really is in a league of his own. And yet, even in such a desperate situation, this young man was actually able to calmly analyze the enemy's weaknesses and coordinate it seamlessly with his own preemptive strike. This combination of intellect and courage is equally breathtaking. Good lad, truly a hero in the making. Zhang Dongyu exclaimed in admiration. Just then, the head of the medical team stepped forward. This student is unharmed. Just go back and rest to replenish your spiritual energy. His aura is weak, though, but his injuries have been stabilized with healing potions. He just needs to rest for 2 days to make a full recovery. Upon hearing this, my tense nerves finally relaxed completely. A wave of immense fatigue washed over me. It's safe. Lilith is okay. Zhang Dong saw how exhausted I looked and didn't ask any more questions. We're done here. You should hurry home and get some rest, and get ready for the upcoming college entrance exam. He paused for a moment and added, by the way, just a reminder, time flows at different rates, inside and outside the instance. It feels like only half a day has passed for you inside. Actually, 2 full days have already passed out there. It's actually been 2 days. I know exactly what's going on. After all, the duration of some dungeons, it's perfectly normal for the time spent in dungeons. As for the reward you deserve, the water of hell, I'll have someone deliver it to your home shortly. Zhang Dong promised. Thanks, neighbor. I nodded. I really can't wait to get home now. There are too many people here. It's not a seedy place. I have to get home as soon as possible. In a completely safe environment. Absorb that soul essence. Only by truly transforming it into one's own power. And allow one to return to their familiar apartment with peace of mind. I carefully place Lilith on the living room sofa. Cover her with a blanket. 2 consecutive days of intense concentration and combat. I'm finally relaxing. I didn't even have time to wash up. I just gave Lilith a few quick instructions. And then collapsed onto his bed, falling into a deep sleep.